And the new ones have got the little computers on them. So this comes along with the big screens, and it's a life-changing. Don't know if anybody. Who else has got an elbow in here? Don't think anybody. No. I know there's been a few, but it is the craziest thing. I actually miss it now because everybody used to call me Iron Man, so it kind of makes you feel like special. But it is you have to wear the holster. You've got the batteries, and if you can imagine, you can't go swimming anymore. You can't take you can take a shower, but you have to put it in the bag. You can't take a bath. So for 6 years, I smelled pretty bad. Pretty bad. I had to have a sponsorship for Axe and what's the other one? Old Spice. Should have done that. So this is what the LVAD looks like. And actually, once I'm one of these people that starts thinking about things before I'd even kind of got home. Doing things to educate people. I just thought, I'd love to have one of those, although it's inside me. I'd love to have one where I can show people. So I actually called the company that makes them, Thoratec, at the time, and they sent me a replica. So now when I go to schools, I can actually show them a replica of it. Down the side, you've got the two batteries, which actually was another cool thing because everybody thinks you're a cop. I always wanted to be an American cop, so that's kind of neat. And when there's a big crowd of people, when you're walking down the street, it's like they're behind on the red sea. Pretty big crowd. And then Jeff said to me to get some pictures of some nurses, but it's only Cleveland Clinic nurses. There's none from here, but it was actually really cool. From both hospitals, and that's actually the replica of what was inside me. Obviously not that size, because obviously it would have to come out the side, but it's for a company to give me that and allow me to go around and show people, that's pretty neat. Okay, so that is obviously a scan of what's inside me, and obviously because of the different materials, you can't see where it's connected. And then once again I thought this would be pretty cool to turn into a T-shirt. Because everybody keeps asking me, what are those things hanging down here, what's the computer? So I thought, if I turn it into a T-shirt, they can see what's actually inside me. So the little logo that I made was my CT scan, and then my friend enhanced all the organs. And then we made a T-shirt, and when we actually sold the T-shirts, we give the rest of it to charity and go on vacation to the Caribbean. That's kind of which I never went. And there you are, there's a T-shirt. That's pretty cool. So when you get in an elevator with someone, they're like, what's that? I'm like, well, take a look, see what you think. It is pretty amazing. So that's what happens. I'm sorry, Josh. But that's what happens when you've got a little 7-year-old little boy and you don't realise until now that how much he loves you, loves his dad. So he decided he wanted a scar, which is it's almost like a C-section, I think. And then the heart. I don't know what the third eye was, I'm not quite sure. And I think the beard was Captain Jack Sparrow, so that's what was going on there. Now, when I had the LVAD, I didn't want to stop doing my normal things. Actually, I'd never done a 5K. And this is my good friend from the YMCA, and that's Ozzy Osbourne, believe it or not. Can you believe that? Yeah. It is, isn't it? I know something. It's nice. Yeah. Now, my mother, obviously she's, because I'm from India, she flies in. When she first found out, basically my wife called and said, I'm really bad, and this is a terrible thing, to call your mother-in-law that's in a different country and say, hey, your son is extremely sick. I don't know whether she said that he's in a coma right now, but she jumps on the next flight, and she arrived in Columbus. My sister-in-law went and picked her up and then drove all the way to Cleveland So she was with me all the way through as well. And believe it or not, that wasn't planned, the colours, everything there. And that isn't really a pink shirt. I think it's the lighting. I'm not really wearing pink. I've never worn pink in my life. It isn't.
You're not a real man then.
Huh?
You're not a real man then.
No, I'm not. I'm sorry. And then that's what happened next. So, did I spell it wrong? No. So, I was, my system, if anything happens to the computer or anything inside me happens, you get an alarm. It basically tells you that there's a big issue going on. So I come into OSU as a reason why I'm at OSU now is because Cleveland said, yeah, sorry, but we don't take insurance anymore. So, which was like, okay, it's fair enough. Let's go to OSU. And it's great because I've met some amazing people, so that's one good thing. So the cancer thing, I came in for a routine test, and while I'm in here, my alarm goes off, which you don't really want to hear, because that either means there's a wire broken on the outside, or it's on the inside. So it turns out that they think it was on the outside. So these guys flew in from Chicago and Cleveland, and they operate, they don't really operate, but it sounds cool. They, in front of you, they're like doing the wires and splicing them, and they said to me, yep, we fixed it, and they left. And 2 hours later, the alarm started going up again. And they scanned me, and they thought that it was the wire inside had split. Well, that's probably because I've been digging the yard and doing all these things that I really shouldn't have done, but it's very hard. You want to carry on with life. I wasn't doing it to put myself in danger, but you just got to keep, you've just got to keep going, because you don't, once you lose focus, you're, kind of go off the path. So, my cardiologist, Dr. Kulich, so he basically said, okay, we need to keep you here. You are not going to leave. You've got to stay. We're going to put you at the top of the heart transplant list. So I'm like, okay. So I'm kind of fit, but I've still got that wire that's kind of like on the back of my mind. So two months I think I sat there, and I had this pain in my side, and it was scanned, and they found this cancerous tumour on my kidney. Luckily, it was an encapsulated tumour, which means that they can go in there, take it out, and there was a 1% chance it would ever come back. So that was a blessing, because if they hadn't have found it, I would have got a new heart, the medication would have been, the cancer would have gone crazy, and then I would have passed away within a year. So that was a good thing. It sounds like it's a bad thing, but it's actually a good thing. And there's my brain. So, then I found out that I'd had a stroke. And they found that out because I'd had seizures. It's like, okay, you can get the medical journal, and you can do, I'd never been in hospital for my life, and then suddenly let's just throw everything at him. So yeah, so that's actually, so there it is there, obviously. Luckily it's at the back, which you said if it's at the back, then it doesn't really affect what you do. I'm just amazed that I've got a brain. That was a shock, because they were trying to figure out what caused the seizures. One of the reasons why was because the fluid that was on me when they, also I think when they took, was it the LVAD that caused the, okay, so when they changed my LVAD, the fluid build-up, they wanted to do dialysis to basically get some fluid off, and it dried me out too much. And there you go. And that's what caused these different things, these seizures. I had no idea. I couldn't remember it. No one knew that I had a stroke, so luckily it hadn't affected me. And as you can see, once again, I'm on another ventilator, which is the worst thing ever. Has anybody else been on the vent? It's horrible. One of my wife's friends actually came in to see her. I think she was coming in on Sunday morning. Well, I couldn't talk, so I couldn't hold a conversation And he kept asking me questions, and I'm like, what? And I kept looking at my mum like, yeah. And then she gave me a pencil while I'm on drugs and things like that. I'm squiggling and yeah. But it's a horrible thing to be on a vent because you're tied down. Although I did this time actually was the second time I pulled the vent out myself and knocked my tooth out. So, which there's another thing. And there you go. There's the dialysis machine. It's very hard for me now to walk back in. I don't know if any of you have been in the hospital and then gone back into your room afterwards and seen other people on all these different machines. It just makes you kind of feel, was that really me? Because you don't see that. You're looking out. These guys, you know, they're probably stronger than me because it just breaks my heart. He's a good-looking guy as well, this one. Oh, it's me. That's a closer shot, obviously. And then my son again, he's everywhere. And when you're unconscious and you don't really know anything, you don't know who's there. There's so many people. And at Cleveland Clinic at one point, it was on the 31st of December, 2012. And I opened my eyes and there was a whole row of my family. And you know what's going to happen. They're here to say goodbye. And I'm like, you know what? I ain't saying goodbye. And then that night I had a party hat on and Happy New Year, and I'm not going to be defeated. And there you go. That's actually a kind of cool shot. It isn't until now when you go through these pictures of how bad it is, not just for me. Medically, it's terrible, but you know, mentally, you know, my son has gone through nothing like I could imagine. It's terrible. There he is again. Kind of lazy, actually. Don't really do it. That obviously was not supposed to be there. They said wear protection, but hey. So here's the thing. So I got my second hour bed, and it was all good. And, I can't remember why, but I was actually going to go on vacation to Florida. We'd been offered a condo down there and to fly down there. Well, I hadn't flown for 7 years because if you get on a plane to go across the Atlantic, it's going to take you over 12 hours. Well, the batteries are about 12 hours, which means that I'd have to clamber around, change my batteries. What if we plunged into the sea in the aeroplane? Then I'm going to die anyway, but then I'm going to have to swim, that's not going to work because I can't swim because of this stuff. So I'm like, you know, I'm never going to fly. Well, we got some cheap flights down to Florida, and they said, you just got to be careful because we think you've got a blood clot. Like, okay. It was probably one of the most miserable vacations because when they tell you you've got a blood clot and you've got a VAD, it's like, you know, this could be it. So I came back and went to the clinic here, and I didn't leave for 7 days. They refused to let me go. One of the cardiologists, AJ, said to me, you really can't go. We're going to put you at the top of the list, and let's just see what happens. We just got to be careful. And it had moved a little bit, the clot from the couple of weeks before. So 7 days after I booked into this beautiful hotel here, all the doctors came in and said, this is D-Day, we've got your heart tonight. So that was actually, crazy enough, that was actually one of the calmest days of my life because everybody else was like, oh my goodness, my wife didn't know. And she came in and I said, hey, by the way, I'm getting a heart tonight. It was a little more dramatic than that. Actually, the quick story, she was getting me a Big Mac. And she took so long. She took so long that I never got the Big Mac. Because as soon as they told me I was getting a heart, I got an MPO, not allowed to eat anything. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I can't have this Big Mac because I'm getting a heart now. So, but I did. The really bad thing is, I actually did think about it. It's like, okay, I really want it. And she came in and put it on the side, and all I could smell. So someone took it away. I should have kept that and framed it. And the other thing is, the other crazy thing was that when I was told about this, I mean, it was just the most amazing thing. Donate Life were there. Julie, who is, I can't think what position she is, but she said to me that she has never witnessed anybody being told that they're going to get a heart. So that was, you know, she just looked at me like, I cannot believe that. And like I said, my wife walked in and I told her, and the one thing that was a little worrying was it was a high-risk heart. Now, I know nothing about, you know, I'm just a patient. You don't know what high risk really means, so. But actually, it's I believe it's stronger than my old heart. It's incredible. I can the strength of it. I mean, beats like it never. My original one. I don't know how long I was sick. That's the crazy thing. That's actually just before, literally just before I was going to go for my heart transplant. And I don't actually even remember him being that, like that. As you can tell, I love my son because he's in the picture. But that actually, for Donate Life, that kind of shows you, gets across the picture that how much this means to just, not just me, to everybody. Okay. That's actually not mine, but because I actually asked for my surgeon, Dr. Whitson, if he could take a picture. It could be mine, I don't know. And also I wanted the video of my heart stopping and the new heart starting, but I think someone bootlegged the DVD and sold it on the corner of the street or something. But I mean, you can see the difference. You can see where the LVAD goes in, you can see the size, you can see how nice the new one is. It's crazy. It is. And then when you see that, it's mind-blowing to know that that's in there, doing amazing things. And then, once I had the heart transplant, the next problem was my, how do you pronounce that? My, that's it, so that's why I needed the doctor. Tricuspid valve needed replacing. Because I believe it was 90% going out and then 10% or something being sucked back in. So that was giving me some problems. So then I had to have more surgery to get that done in a couple of weeks. I thought it was actually done the week after, but I was high on some pretty good drugs. And I didn't feel anything until when I came out, and it was like, what's going on here? And I did think, what's going on here? Because it's like a different world. And actually that did make a difference. And then obviously, this is quite a while after the transplant, and I started to learn how to walk again, and with the little chicken legs. Because you lose so much weight when you lay in bed. And that's another thing you don't realise, that Tyler probably knows this, although Tyler is, where is he? Oh, there you go. Tyler, I don't know if anybody knows, he was on the news a couple of weeks ago, a month or so ago.
Weeks ago.
Yeah, but when you had the LVAD.
At the beginning of January.
Okay, so the beginning of January I found out about Tyler, who had an LVAD, and now he's got a heart already.
Oh.
And this guy, although he's better looking than that, although he's not as good looking as that man over there. He's like sickly good looking. Plus he's from my home country. And but Tyler is I'm from the posh end of Cincinnati. You're from the rougher end. So Tyler has absolutely made me look stupid because it's taken me so long to recoup, but I had lots of different things. I had more wrong with me than you. But he walked in and I'm like, oh my goodness. And you just have to keep fighting and, focus, and it is crazy. This was hard work. The first time I walked around was just like, I cannot do this, but you just keep going. Just getting up from the chair. I do remember falling off the bed though. At one point, you see how close the bed is to the chair. And look, my hand is almost to the bed, but unfortunately, when you go swing around, you you sit on the bed, and the bed's kind of like, well, I fell off the bed. And everybody comes running, and like, what are you doing? And then this doctor here is like, so what were you doing? Night on the town? I mean, and then back to normality. That was actually New Year's Eve, so I am now wireless. I've got no wires, no batteries, no nothing. I helped organise a New Year's Eve party in Circleville downtown. And the big pumpkin, obviously hopefully a lot of you know that Circleville was famous for the pumpkin show. So I think this is the second one. It's a big pumpkin, it's got lights on it, and it gets bigger. So I helped with food stuff and with some funding. This guy is just as stupid and crazy as me, obviously. But it is amazing. The pastor that kind of ran the whole thing got me to come up on stage to tell my story again, switched the light, and actually to this day, me and Joshua and my wife, the only ones that know that we were 40 seconds after midnight when we flipped the switch. Yeah. We saw it was midnight, it's like, I think someone needs to do it. And then the stupid idiot that does the numbers, countdown, started from 20. So we went up, started, actually, no, it was nearly a minute after, so yeah, but everyone was happy. All happy on their cider. So, and that was Donate Life when I had the LVAD, so it's just great to be able to go full circle again. I'm still obviously having issues. I'm on rejection medication, which is making me shake. But it is incredible. There are so many. You appreciate life more. Having the chance to talk to everybody here. Jeff is a big inspiration. The good. I should call you the good doctor because that's like the show. He is. Hopefully, we become friends. Well, I think I know what you do. I will be around later. No, he's one of the nicest people, nicest doctors. He would come in and just literally sit down and tell me honestly about how I can move forward. And every doctor actually, but he was my favourite. We saw each other across the lobby one day, and we'd not met each other. And it was like this bromance was blossoming. He looked at me, I looked at him, and my heart was broken. But no, it is amazing. This hospital is amazing. It's like my second home. I seem to come here every couple of weeks and have to have heart caths. I had rejection up to 2, then down to 1, and then to 0 again. Infections. My family's just had the flu, which the clinic were freaking out about because it can kill me. And Tyler is awesome because he's coming with a mask on, so he's already learned the pros and cons. I probably should have done a lot of things that I was told, but I'm a man. I'm an idiot. I can't understand American language anyway, so I think that's the end, yeah. But thank you. Do you want to ask some questions, or you want to hear the educated version?